We just got hit with one of the biggest AI news storms in history, and this video is a summary of all the biggest announcements that Microsoft, Google, and OpenAI made in the past month. Let's start with Microsoft, who had their yearly Microsoft Build event in Seattle, which I attended for the first time this year. The main theme of this event is what Microsoft calls the Open Agentic Web. And what they really mean by this is that we're entering this era where the barriers between different tools and platforms are disappearing to give AI agents access to more information with less friction so they can do more things. You'll understand that a bit more in a second. The biggest announcement for me at Microsoft Build was the GitHub Coding Agent, which is this autonomous software developer that you can assign tasks to in GitHub. For example, if you're a developer, you can assign a bug to the GitHub Coding Agent and it can write the code to fix it on its own. And then once it's done, it will get back to you so you can review it, validate it, and then put it into production. So they're evolving from the GitHub Copilot, which was this assistant that you had this back and forth with. You would ask a question, it would generate the code for you, where you would still be involved in the process, to the GitHub agent where you delegate tasks and it does things on its own and gets back to you once it's done. Next, they announced some big updates to the Microsoft Copilot 365 app, which they call the UI for AI. And what they're doing there is centralizing all the different AI capabilities that Microsoft offers into one interface. So you have chat, search, notebooks, agents, and the create, which is the image generation. Another big update was for Copilot Studio, where you can now build your own agents, specifically Copilot fine-tuning. And this lets companies train custom models for very domain-specific tasks. For example, if you have a legal team at your company, you can use all the contracts that have been written in the past to train a new model to perform the task of contract writing that follows the same style and formatting of all your previous contracts. Next, they announced a big push into supporting MCP, which is Model Context Protocol. If you don't know what that is, come back here in a week and I'll have an explainer video for it. But MCP basically lets you connect different tools together so you can fetch information from different sources and complete tasks across different apps. The one example they showed was a developer working in Visual Studio Code, and they used MCP to connect to Figma to pull in the design for a website's landing page. And the developer was able to easily implement the design into the code. Finally, one of the coolest announcements for me was something called Microsoft Discovery, which is this scientific research platform with scientific AI agents that can help like discovering new drugs or new materials. And it works alongside the human researchers and scientists to formulate a hypothesis, generate different candidates or solutions for the specific problem they're trying to solve, and finally simulating whether any one of them works. So it just speeds up that loop of hypothesis experimentation analysis so researchers can get to the solution faster. And Microsoft even said that they already used this to find and invent this new cooling fluid. Now on to Google. Instead of one theme like Microsoft, Google had three big themes that they covered in their annual Google I/O event. First, there's the generative media bucket, which got everyone's attention, specifically because of VO3, which is Google's new video generation model. And the impressive thing about it is that it now generates audio with the video for dialogue and even background sound effects. Let me just show you the demo.
This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might.
They also announced the new and improved image generation model called Imagen 4 and Lyria 2, which is the latest version of the music generation model. And they put VO3, Imagen 4, and Lyria 2 all together into this new tool called Flow, which is this new video editing tool that gives you lots of control over the video making process. For example, you can generate different images for characters and objects and put them together in a scene with a simple text prompt. You can also cut a video and then extend it and change the way it ends based on how you want it to end. Now let's move on to the second bucket, which is all about personalization and personal context. So instead of getting this very generic experience with Gemini, it would become very unique to you and your needs and the data that they know about you. One example is the smart replies in Gmail. So instead of generating email responses that are very generic, It would look through the history of all your emails to understand your communication style, but also reference things that you might have mentioned before. There's also the new AI mode in search, which is an interesting move because we're starting to see search move into this more conversational experience like ChatGPT, Perplexity, instead of the list of links that we're so used to. But when you're searching in the new AI mode, it's also using all the different files and information you have across your Google products like Drive and Docs to provide additional context. The personalization is also moving into the shopping experience. One of the more eye-catching demos was the new try-on feature, where you would take an image of a product you find online and then take an image of yourself, and then it would just put the product on you so you see what it looks like on you before you buy it. I'm not sure how accurate the size and fit would be, but this is a thing now. Another demo that I really liked was the real-time translation in Google Meet. So if you're talking to someone on Google Meet and they speak a different language, it would just translate it live on the spot. Not subtitles, the actual audio gets translated and fed to you.
It's nice to finally talk to you.
Es bueno hablarte finalmente. No puedo esperar a alquilar tu casa.
They also announced Gemini Live, which is this new feature on the Gemini app that lets you FaceTime with Gemini. So it would open up your camera, you can show it your personal visual context around you and ask questions based on that. And the next level of that is the Android XR platform. XR stands for mixed reality, which is augmented reality and virtual reality. And they showed off the new headset that they're working on with Samsung called Project Muhan, which looks like the Apple Vision Pro pretty much. And they showed off the smart glasses with the Gemini built into them. So now every tech company has a dedicated partnership for eyewear. You have Apple with Essilor something, Meta with Ray-Ban, and now you have Google with Warby Parker and Gentle Monster. So you can see that all of these companies are investing heavily into building these smart glasses that are always on our faces, and they have all these different AI and augmented reality features built into them. Finally, the third bucket, not surprisingly, is agents. Google announced Jules, which is its own software coding agent. And they announced Agent Mode, which is a more general agent within Gemini that you can assign tasks to, and it would just go and do it across the web. So it would be able to browse websites and complete tasks like shop for you, buy groceries, or even booking tickets for something. And last but not least, OpenAI. OpenAI had a quieter month, but they still had a couple of big announcements that are worth our attention. The biggest one by far is OpenAI acquiring Johnny Ive's startup called IO for $6.5 billion. IO is only 1 year old and it has less than 100 employees. I'm just curious to know what they're cooking up behind the scenes that's worth $6.5 billion. But Johnny Ive and Sam Altman have been working together for the past 2 years, discussing the next generation of hardware devices now that AI models are getting better. There's not a lot of information about what they're gonna do, but we'll be paying attention. Another part of this agreement is Johnny Ive's original agency called Loveform taking over the design responsibilities across OpenAI. So not only are they working on the hardware, but they're also gonna influence the design on the software side of things, including ChatGPT. Another big announcement for them was Codex, which is their own software coding agent. Again, so now you have Microsoft, Google, and OpenAI all announcing their coding agents back to back. And this tells you that AI is getting better at coding specifically, and they're all investing resources into building the best coding agents that every developer will use. It's only available as a research preview for now on the more expensive plan of ChatGPT, which I think is $200. This concludes our very quick recap of all the AI announcements from the past month. And if you want to read more, I added 2 links in the description so you can read a full list of all the announcements in one place. In the comments, I want you to tell me which one is your favorite announcement and which one you think will be the most consequential for the future. And I will see you in the next one.